It was a crisp October evening in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Ohio. Pumpkins glowed on every porch, fake cobwebs covered fences, and kids in colorful costumes filled the streets with laughter. It was my turn to take my two kids, Josh and Lisa, trick-or-treating. I watched them run from house to house, their small bags slowly filling with candy. Everything felt perfect until it didn't. As I admired the decorations on a nearby lawn, I looked away for just a few seconds. When I turned back, I noticed my kids weren't alone anymore. A girl, about my daughter's height, was walking beside them wearing a strange, homemade cardboard mask. It looked hand-painted, with uneven black lines forming a crooked smile. Lisa ran up to me and asked if the girl could join us. I said sure, assuming she was a classmate, but something about that mask felt wrong. A few minutes later, I noticed a tall man trailing behind us. He wore a dark coat and a cat mask twisted into an angry expression. He didn't say anything, just followed at a slow, steady pace. I tried to break the tension. "Nice night, huh?" No answer. He just stared. When I asked if the masked girl was his daughter, he gave a small nod, but still said nothing. The silence was heavier than the cold air.
We continued down the block, house after house. The man stayed exactly 10 paces behind, never closer, never farther. The laughter around us started to fade as families went home. Now it was just us and them. Every time I turned, I could feel his gaze fixed on me from behind that mask. Something deep down told me to take the kids and leave.
Then, out of nowhere, Josh tugged my sleeve. "Dad, can we go home now?" It surprised me. They never wanted Halloween to end early. But when I looked at their faces, they both seemed scared. I agreed without a second thought. As we turned to leave, I waved at the man and the masked girl. Neither moved. They just stood there, watching. Even as we turned the corner, they hadn't moved an inch.
Halfway home, I asked Lisa, "So, who was that girl? A friend from school?" Lisa hesitated, her voice trembling. "She said she's your friend, Daddy." I stopped walking. "My friend?" Lisa nodded. "She said she used to know you before we moved here." My stomach dropped. I didn't know anyone in this town.
When she first came up to us, she wasn't wearing the mask. She had a wrinkled face like an old lady. She put on the mask right after you looked away. I froze. Lisa's voice dropped to a whisper. "She also kept taking candy from my bag when you weren't looking."
We rushed home. My wife helped me check every piece of candy. Nothing seemed out of place until I noticed one small chocolate bar. It had a grayish fingerprint smudged across the wrapper. Not like dirt, something else. I threw it away immediately.
Later that night, I couldn't sleep. I got up, looked out the window, and froze. At the edge of the street, under the same flickering lamp, stood the girl in the cardboard mask. Next to her, the man in the angry cat mask. Both facing my house, both completely still.
The power flickered once, twice, then everything went dark. Moments later, 3 slow knocks echoed from the front door, followed by a faint voice, calm and childlike. "Can we play with your kids again?" And then silence.
It was during my college's Halloween celebration a few years ago, the night that changed my life forever. The campus streets glowed orange from the carved pumpkins, and laughter echoed across the chilly air. My roommates, a few friends, and I were heading to a party just as the sun dipped below the horizon. That's when we heard it. A group of 3 drifters calling out to us from across the street, their faces half hidden in shadow.
We laughed it off and kept walking, thinking nothing of it. Hours later, after dancing and drinking, we decided to head back to our apartment to change out of our heels. The streets were cracked and rough, and the night air felt colder now. As we turned a corner, I heard a voice. "Hey, beautiful, how about a kiss?" Still tipsy, I joked back, "No thanks, girls are more my type." Then a low voice replied, "Hey, my friend here likes the ladies." Before I could react, a homeless girl stepped from the shadows and kissed me. Laughter, rough hands. One of the men grabbed me and lifted me off the ground before setting me back down. It all felt like some twisted joke. Until it didn't.
I stormed off, shaken but trying to laugh it away. My friends told me to forget it. We went back out after changing shoes, but sometime around midnight, I lost sight of them in the crowd. That's when I saw them again. The same 3 drifters standing across the street, staring straight at me. I pretended not to notice, forcing a smile as I walked faster. "Hey!" one of them shouted. "Where's the liquor store?" I pointed down the street, trying to stay calm. "Okay," the man grinned. "You can show us."
Before I could react, they surrounded me. I felt a rough shove, then cold metal, the door of a van slamming shut. I screamed, but the music and laughter from nearby masked it. The van roared to life, heading away from campus, away from safety. I begged them to let me out. "The power does what it wants," one of them said quietly. The phrase made no sense, but it chilled me to the bone. We drove for hours, crossing state lines, my phone taken, my mind spiraling in fear.
At some point, we stopped at a gas station. One of them went inside, and I saw my chance. I yanked the door open and bolted, screaming to the clerk for help. "Help me, please!" But before I could reach the door, a hand grabbed my hair and pulled me back. "The power does what it wants," he hissed again. I screamed louder, and people turned to look. They dragged me toward the car. That's when the woman, the same one who kissed me earlier, said, "Guys, maybe we should just drop her off. She's scared." Her voice cracked. Something in her changed.
Minutes later, they drove me back near campus. As the van slowed, the woman leaned close and whispered, "The power does what it wants, but tonight it lets you live." The door opened. I stumbled out, and flashing blue lights filled the night. A police cruiser. The officer called my name, his voice cutting through the chaos. The woman shoved me toward him and yelled, "Run!" Before I could look back, the van sped off into the darkness. They never caught the drifters. One of my roommates dropped out, another transferred schools. I tried to move on, but every Halloween when the wind howls through the streets, I still hear it. The power does what it wants. No one ever understood what they meant. Maybe it wasn't just madness. Maybe it was something darker, something that still wanders on Halloween night.
I used to love Halloween, not just for the costumes or decorations, but for how the whole neighborhood seemed to change, as if something sinister awoke beneath the orange streetlights.
My best friend and neighbor, Lucas, was obsessed with Halloween, even more than I was. Every year, he tried to outdo everyone with his elaborate horror displays. But no matter what we did, we could never compete with Mr. Graves.
Mr. Graves was an elderly widower who lived alone in the decaying house at the end of the street. His late wife had been cruel, yet she adored Halloween. After she died, he kept her tradition alive, creating terrifyingly lifelike decorations that drew crowds from every corner of town.
One year, he built a blood-red pond in his garden. Another year, spider webs so real they seemed to move. Lucas hated it. He spent thousands trying to outshine Mr. Graves, but every year the old man somehow managed to create the most horrifying spectacle imaginable, and always in just one day.
In 2018, Lucas finally snapped. "I'll find out how he does it," he told me. "No one that old can pull this off alone." On Halloween morning, he skipped work to spy on Mr. Graves. Around noon, I got a frantic voicemail.
I knew it. You won't believe what I found. Mr. Graves is a monster. I'm gonna call. The message cut off. When I called back, only static.
That evening, Lucas's wife hadn't heard from him either. A cold fear crawled up my spine. I went straight to Mr. Graves' house.
His yard was unrecognizable, a maze of tall, dead grass and grotesque scarecrows. The air stank of decay. Children laughed, thinking it was part of the show.
"Mr. Graves, can we talk?" I asked.
"In a minute, friend," he replied, guiding visitors inside. Something felt wrong. The smell, it wasn't theatrical. I pushed through the grass and examined one of the scarecrows. Beneath its tattered mask, I saw real flesh, rotting, gray, crawling with maggots. It wasn't a prop, it was a corpse.
I stumbled backward, trembling, then forced myself to check another, and another. Most were skeletons, long dead, but the last one, I recognized the clothes.
I tore off the burlap mask and saw Lucas's lifeless face, throat slit, straw stuffed into his body. That's when I realized every year Mr. Graves' decorations weren't fakes. The blood, the screams, the bodies, they'd all been real. When the police arrived, the crowd screamed as officers stormed the house. But Mr. Graves was gone. He was never found. Now, no one in our town celebrates Halloween. The 31st of October is just a day of silence.
But sometimes, when I walk by that abandoned house, I swear I still hear the faint rattle of straw and the whisper of a voice saying, "She loved Halloween, and so do I."